Serikali ya Rais Uhuru Kenyatta imeweka mikakati kabambe ya kuinua viwango vya tasnia ya michezo nchini Kenya.
My government has and will continue to support you.
Mikakati hii ni pamoja na ujumuishaji wa michezo kwenye mtaala mpya wa elimu ya umilisi KBC.
So if they start introducing that at the lower level, and then this kid grows knowing that he's an athlete, he'll get into very high levels at a very younger age.
Kwa uhondo huu,
My name is Rosemary Warongo and I'm a wildlife warrior.
The Grevy's zebra is one of Africa's most endangered animals.
In Kenya we have 2,812. How they live as families, it's just like the way we live at home.
All you need is a camera. Take a photograph.
I just take the image and drag it in the software.
Upload it onto the website and participate as a citizen scientist. This is Wildlife Warriors, and I'm Paula Kahumbu.
You're going to be introduced to my exceptional professional presence.
And this means war. Tell you is what the Lord commanded. We go forward into the land he promised our forefathers. I follow his word without question. It is not too late to save ourselves. Better to go back to Egypt than to die here. Moses, they meant no harm. They simply worry for themselves, as if the Lord hasn't proven he'll care for their every need.
We feel for your grief, Moses, but our animals will soon die of thirst.
The second day of November and the last day for the mass voter registration exercise, at least according to IEBC. So in case you haven't done that, you need to pick up the pace because the exercise will be concluded today. Away from that, you're just in time for a comprehensive news bulletin. This is KBC Lunchtime News. Glad you could join us. My name is Njue. Lensa Odingo will be our sign language interpreter for this newscast. Remember, you can be part of this newscast via our social media platform. We are live from the broadcasting house here in the county of Nairobi and all our social media spaces. Straight to the news. In the next few hours, curtains will fall on the mass voter registration despite calls on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC to extend the exercise beyond Tuesday. A section of Kenyans have argued that the month-long exercise has not provided all eligible Kenyans ample time to enlist as voters.
Mimi ni mgeni.
Magarini Member of Parliament Michael Kingi is worried that only 1,000 people have turned up for voter listing in his constituency.
Shirikiana huku ni lazima tuhakikishe kwamba wale ambao hawajachukua kura wanachukua kura. Mtu wa IBC amekuwa hapa. Inasikitisha ya kwamba Magarini yote mwezi mzima tumeweza kusajili watu 1,000 peke yake.
Kingi has urged more youths to make last-ditch efforts and register as voters.
Inasikitisha sana ya kwamba kuna watu hapa wanapatiwa 2,000, wanatoa kura zao Kilifi, wanaenda kuandikisha kura wapi? Kule Ijara. Ama wakati mapeni hayo yatakuwa yanagawanywa, utaona kwamba pesa ya Kilifi itafanya nini? Itaenda chini.
IEBC had hoped to enlist 6 million new voters. However, that target appears to have fallen short by more than 60%. A court in Eldoret had ordered IEBC to extend the exercise until 9th of November after a case was filed challenging the decision to end the process on Tuesday. IEBC is expected to issue a statement on the same. Reporting for Lunchtime News, Amamboi Otende.
That is something we are definitely keeping our eyes peeled, and we will bring you an update before the day ends. But away from that, let's now focus on the drought situation in the country, where locals in Mandera have urged the government to distribute relief food to affected areas most by the drought. For the last 3 years, most parts of Mandera County have not received rainfall, with residents left to depend on stretched resources for survival. Mandera East Deputy County Commissioner Solomon Cheboton has, however, assured the residents that the government is up to the task in ensuring that no life is lost to drought and starvation.
Mandera East Deputy County Commissioner Solomon Cheboton says that the government, through National Disaster Management Authority, has supplied animal feed to the most affected areas in Mandera County.
Na kwa sababu ya shida ya malisho ya ng'ombe ambayo imeathiriwa na ukame, serikali imeweza kutoa hii msaada ya magunia 560 ambayo ni chakula ya mifugo. Itasambazwa katika sehemu zote katika sub-county yetu ya Mandera East.
Cheboton added that more than 1,000 bags of rice and 500 bags of beans are in store and will be distributed to locals to curb starvation and drought-related deaths.
Katika msimu huu tutahakikisha kuwa tutawasaidia kwa njia zote ambazo serikali inaweza kufanya. Na tunaomba pia kuwa tutapata mvua hivi karibuni na itasaidia katika kuhakikisha kuwa malisho ya ng'ombe tunapata na pia chakula ya wananchi wetu.
Abdullahi Ibrahim says that the government should do more.
Tunataka tuongezewe chakula kwa wingi, hii ni kidogo sana, ng'ombe na kufa. Ukame mingi sana. Ukame kali.
Mandera West, Mandera South and parts of Banisa are the worst hit areas by the ongoing drought, where at least 2 million Kenyans from 10 counties are affected. On the flip side, however, the Kenya Meteorological Department has warned of occasional flooding in low-lying areas and along river basins in the Lake Victoria Basin, as well as in areas surrounding the Rift Valley lakes this month, as the country is likely to experience near-average rainfall. Flooding may be experienced even in areas that may not necessarily be raining due to heavy rainfall elsewhere.
We now reshift our focus to our early story on the voter registration exercise that is expected to conclude today. And for that, we now cross over to Kisumu, where our reporter Simon Achola is on standby to give us the latest from the lakeside city. Achola, if you can hear me kindly, it's always a characteristic of Kenyans to do the last-minute dash. Are we experiencing the same in Kisumu?
Yes, you are right, Ben, Troy, Njue. Kenyans are very good at following trends, and this time round is no different. And as you can actually see behind me, there's been quite a queue here since morning. For the last 2 or so days, the queue has been quite long, and youngsters have actually been trooping to this place to try and register as voters. Now, right inside this building, there's another station that is actually there for specifically for the purpose of ensuring that those who want to transfer their voting cards probably from one station to another can actually do so, and it's actually packed, as you can see from where we are, and that has actually been the trend over the years, where of course IEBC announced that they'll be holding an enhanced continuous voter registration exercise, and of course Kenyans will be dragging their feet up until the last day of the registration exercise. That is when they actually come out in numbers, and clearly, as I've already said, when you look around this place, you'll actually see a number of them have actually come out to try and register or actually beat the deadline. And Troy, what I would also say is that Kisumu County, they were actually targeting about 175,847 potential voters from this particular county. And the story that has actually been told across the country is actually also replicating here in Kisumu County. And we're doing about between 30 and 35% of actually the target that is actually targeted by the IEBC. Now, where we are, we actually in Kisumu Central constituency, and the Kisumu constituency is actually one of the best performing constituencies in the county in terms of the new voter registration. And as we speak right now, they've actually just done about 10%, about 11,000 registered new registered voters. They're actually targeting 22,000 registered voters. So then we'll just get the person who's actually in charge of Kisumu Central constituency, who will actually give us the perspective of exactly what is happening in this county. So then we get to know how far they've actually gone and how far they intend to go before, of course, the deadline, the close of business today. Mr. Yusuf, welcome.
Thank you.
Just tell us, we already know that you're actually targeting slightly above 22,000 new registered voters in this constituency. Where are we at now?
Okay, so far we have registered 10,867. That is roughly 11,000. And we are hoping maybe by the end of the day, we don't expect to register more than 1,000. Even though today is the last day, and you can see the queues everywhere. A few hours ago, I was at Poly. The situation is the same. The young boys and girls are all over, are waiting to be registered. So today we expect that the numbers will surge, but maybe if we'll manage, we'll do another 1,000 because of the rush hours.
You are looking at 1,000. Probably just tell us averagely how many new voters have you actually registered over the last 30 or so days?
Over the last 30 days, that is over the last 29 days, we have registered 10,867. 10,867. That is for the last 29 days. So today, that's what I'm saying today, going by the projections and the queues we are witnessing everywhere, we are likely to register slightly more than 1,000.
When you look at the target of 27,000 and what you are getting today, as of today, is actually just about 11,000, right? Why are these young people not coming out, or those who are actually not registered, why are they not coming out to register?
Maybe I can attribute it to apathy amongst youths. Okay, the problem is I don't know what the problem is. Some of them have also not picked their IDs. There are also those ones who are in colleges, but we've made an effort to visit almost every colleges. Right in Kisumu County, we have 4 kits that are open for the 5 kits, including these ones. Even these ones are open, and during weekends we take them to colleges. Yeah, right. From the beginning of maybe from Saturday, we opened we opened some other kits. And the ones that are closer to the institutions, because we wanted them to help also the kids that are there, so that they are not overwhelmed.
But that is an effort towards actually trying to fish out those people, those who have actually not registered, so then they actually register. Has there been a deliberate effort in terms of sensitizing the community so that then these young people can actually come out and actually look for where the registration centers are, so that then they participate?
Actually, we have tried. We have had consultative meetings even with institutions. We've done letters to institutions, and we've gone to a number of institutions around, and the support is quite good. Like if Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the VC did a memo, and they did a memo to alert all students to come out and register, to actually come out and register. But the problem is sometimes, the mentality. Is like Nairobi University. So the Maseno University, I know there was a problem. They were doing exams, so they tend to, maybe the students when they're doing exams, they don't want interruptions. Maybe we were hoping that after exams they will do what? They will now flock to the polling stations and register. So, yeah, but nonetheless we've been deploying kits there every day. But the numbers that we've been getting from Maseno University is not good compared to the poly one.
Thank you very much. Of course, that is Yusuf, who is in charge of Kisumu Central Constituency, putting us into perspective of exactly what might be happening and the reason as to why probably the people are actually not coming out, potential voters are actually not coming out in numbers to register as voters. And before I just wind up, Troy, just a minute, so then I can actually talk to one youngster here who's actually come to register today, so then to get to understand why she's actually coming today and why she didn't come when they really announced this exercise. Kindly introduce yourself.
I'm Lauren from Riat.
Hey, Lauren, you've just come today. We would want to know why you're coming today, and we've had 29 days that were actually there for you to actually come and participate in this exercise.
Yes, some of us are actually busy doing our stuff, kutafuta pesa. Some of us are students huku nje. So yeah, sa leo ndo nimetafuta time nikakuja kuregister.
Exercise inaisha leo. Do you feel that there are youngsters like you who are actually still busy out there? There's need for the government to actually extend the period of registration, ama wakati umetosha twende shughuli zingine?
No, I feel like they should extend. Like unajua huku nje people are out here wanatafuta chakula kwa meza, yes. So I would like the activity wasongeshe, so that people could come. Mostly weekends, people are free on weekends. So yeah, they come. Yes, so I feel like they should extend the process.
Thank you very much, Troy. That is the perspective of a youngster who's actually come today, potential voter, who is actually come today to actually register as a voter. And of course, we are hoping that she will actually be amongst the 1,000 that actually be targeted today by the officers here at Kisumu Central Constituency. Ben, we don't have anything extra other than just to take it back to you, sir, then you continue your bulletin.
Thank you so much. That has been Achola Simon live from Kisumu. And of course, the calls to extend the days are still emanating from that county. But at least from the statistics that we've heard, they had at least 30 to 35%. But the queues that are there for today might even be able to hit at least 50% of the people that were targeted by IEBC in that city. Well, away from that, let's focus on more news, where Kenya Red Cross Society has launched a cash transfer program in Samburu North to support 700 households affected by drought. Disaster Management Coordinator for Upper Eastern Region, Obed Mugusu, says the money will help cushion the many residents facing starvation.
While addressing the residents, the Assistant Disaster Management Coordinator noted that the Kenya Red Cross has also distributed relief food to 500 households within Samburu East.
We've supported households through cash transfers in Samburu North. We have also supported households in Samburu East with food distribution. We expect that the organization will be monitoring the situation to reach more of our partners and to support the households that are at risk.
Samburu County Deputy Governor Julius Leseto lauded Kenya Red Cross for initiating the program, saying it will enable residents purchase food.
We are happy that at least technology has been used so that it can be able to reach the real beneficiaries, so that they'll be able to buy their preferred commodities.
Njaa itapungua kwa nyumba. Pia shida ambaye mbalimbali ambaye mwanafunzi pia imefukuzwa kwa shule itamsaidia.
Millions of Kenyans are struggling to make ends meet owing to harsh climatic conditions in about 20 counties. Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
Now, stern action will be taken against those found engaging in theft of electricity. The government says that even as it focuses on reducing the cost of electricity, such efforts are being undermined by illegal electricity connections that are depriving Kenya Power Company of revenue.
Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata said the government had discovered that the losses being made by Kenya Power Company were partly as a result of illegal connections, since many people were not paying for electricity.
So unapokea bill unasema hii ni yangu kweli, kumbe unamlipia jirani, kumbe jirani anaiba kwako stima, kumbe mtu amefanya false connection.
He also extended a warning to Kenya Power employees who have been involved in the illegal connections, noting that this vice is making other users to pay higher bills to shoulder the burden of illegal consumers.
So if you know kuna illegal connection area hii, semeni huyo mtu akamatwe, yule officer wa Kenya Power ambaye aliconnect akamatwe, tuwe na nchi nzuri.
Elungata said the security teams have been directed to pursue those technicians whose negligence has been causing continued school fires. Elungata made the remarks in Marafa during an occasion to award a chief who excelled in implementing the government's 100% transition policy of students to secondary school.
So kama shule inachomeka kwa sababu ya electric, tuulize nani aliconnect power to that. Na kama huyo mtu alihama hapa atafutwe, akamatwe, ashtakiwe, kwa sababu angalia ile mali inapotea.
Very well, we are due for our first breather, but we still have more news on the other side of this break.
Could you please go over there and keep watch? If anyone sees us, it could be trouble.
Tian also intends to marry her to you.
Stop talking nonsense. You know who I love. It's obvious.
Man proposes with a wild goose. My brother was asking for your hand in marriage.
Really?
But the more I look at her, the more I think she's the prettiest.
How dare you insult me like this? The heavens above will punish you for sure.
I'll be straight with you today. I love you. I want to make you my wife.
Si mzungu binadamu kiumbe cha ajabu kuliko wa anyama.
Asante sana. Na wangu kutoka Islando anakuambia nini hapa?
Usaliti kwa ndoa, usaliti peke wangu, usaliti.
Anipa michezo mitamu, chumbani ani shoti, kichwa tenge, mwili mazege, vichukoni kama joti, au sio? Ni Mr. Da, niko ndani ya Top Mashariki.
The only one for me.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Did she deserve lynching?
It is not Gusi culture to go around killing, especially widows and elderly women, hacking them, cutting them into pieces and burning them alive. This is not our culture.
To her killers, she was a dangerous witch.
Kuwa na kitu ya kuthibitisha ama expert ya kusema kulikuwa uchawi mahali. Na hata hao watu wenye waliuliwa ama walichomwa sio watu ambao walipatikana nje ya boma zao, ni watu walikuwa miji yao, waliendewa asubuhi wakachukuliwa na watu na hao watu wakawaua.
The core issue is really land, property.
Join me, Nise Mano, as I bring you the lynching of witches.
Welcome back. Let's now make sense of shillings and cents in business. Kenya is facing a fish deficit of between 300 and 400,000 tons of fish annually, forcing the country to import the commodity. Fisheries Principal Secretary Francis Owino is urging more farmers to engage in fish farming to take advantage of the growing demand for the product, locally and internationally.
Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the prices of local fish increased by 11% on average to 175 shillings a kilo last year from 158 shillings in 2019. The improved prices were boosted by a drop in imported fish from China, which plunged by 30%. Kenya's annual fish production stands at 160,000 metric tons against the potential of 300,000. The government has launched an aggressive aquaculture program to boost the numbers. Speaking in Kiambu County, Fisheries Principal Secretary Francis Owino has said Kenya's aquaculture remains untapped, with efforts to double production to 40,000 tons by 2025.
So activity of fishing imerudi wapi? Chini. The potential of production of fish in this country lies in aquaculture. Na ile pesa ya samaki ni 6-8 months. Iko kwa mfuko, unangojea ingine. Sindio? Sini pesa unataka?
Kiambu County officials say the county has already identified ready markets for fish, and it's in the process of installing cold storage systems where farmers may deliver their fish for marketing.
We really evaluate it because it improves the issue of food security, the issue of economic empowerment, and more so the improvement of the fish production and consumption of white meat. As has been said before, we have identified Royal Market as one of the centers that will be really improvised to ensure that fish post-harvest losses are reduced by installing the necessary cooling equipment.
The high cost of fish feed product is also emerging as a challenge to the sector. President Uhuru Kenyatta has already directed the Agriculture Ministry to address the cost of fish feeds by December this year. Reporting for Lunchtime News, my name is Hibak Said.
Moving on, farmers at the Kenyan-Tanzanian border are set to reap big from horticultural farming practices following interventions by the government. The measures are aimed at mitigating against the perennial floods that have for decades ravaged farmers, exposing them to perennial hunger and drought.
The horticulture subsector in Taita Taveta is a major source of income, employment and food. However, the sector has to cope with various production constraints such as clogging of water trenches in the irrigation system. Taita Taveta County Executive Committee in charge of agriculture, Davis Mwangoma, has said the county has procured machines that will help desilt over 50-kilometer canals of Lambongutini Marodo irrigation scheme.
Lengo letu ni kuhakikisha kwamba hizi canals zote zimefunguliwa, hiyo 54 kilometers yote imefunguliwa, na tuangalie vile vile ni wapi kwingine tunaweza tukashirikiana so that tufungue.
Mwangoma urged farmers to turn to hay selling to curb shortage of animal feeds within the region.
Ningetaka tufikie stage ambayo nyasi ambayo iko kwa irrigation canals, badala kuikata hati inaenda inaoza, tuwe tunaibel na tunapatia mifugo yetu. Badala ya sisi kuchoma nyasi, tuanze biashara ya kufunga nyasi, tuuzie wenzetu ambao hawana nyasi walishe mifugo.
Farmers have also been urged to work closely with the county government in a bid to improve production towards achieving the Big Four agenda. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
The Commission on Revenue Allocation has dismissed the proposals by the Council of Governors to raise the county revenue allocation by 381 billion shillings for the financial year 2022-2023, saying it's not a feasible option. Commission on Revenue Allocation Chairperson Jane Kiringai says counties such as Nairobi, Kiambu, Kisumu, Mombasa and Machakos counties have the potential to finance up to 50% of their own budget and do not need additional revenue or rely on national government or nationally raised revenue.
We can see, if you look at the lower scale, Wajir County can only finance 2% of its budget from their own revenues. But on the extreme edge, where we have more urbanized counties, these counties have the capacity to correct a lot more revenue and finance a much larger share of their budget. And by way of example, if you look at the counties like Nakuru, Kiambu, and Kajiado, these are counties. Nakuru can finance 69% of their own budget, Kisumu 75%, and Kajiado up to 76% if they corrected the revenue that they have a potential to correct. On the extreme side, which we didn't include here, is Nairobi County, which can actually finance 236% of its budget if they were able to improve their revenue administration, automate, reduce all the leakages through administration. Nairobi is one county that, in the view of the Commission, does not need to get money from the center if they did the right things.
And across borders, the Democratic Republic of Congo is in the process of establishing a second national airline that will be named Air Congo. An announcement by the country's transport minister, Cherubin Okende, disclosed that the new airline will be a joint venture with Ethiopian Airlines. Here are the details of this and others from across the continent.
The partnership will see Ethiopian Airlines provide at least 7 jets for the new airline. Ownership of Air Congo will be 51-49, with DRC owning the majority stake, according to a signed memorandum of understanding. DRC already has a national carrier, Congo Airways, which is still struggling to survive, but the government is moving ahead with this plan to establish yet another airline that gives as much as 49% ownership to a foreign entity. The plan has met major criticism from experts and economists. However, the country's government believes that having 2 airlines is the best option for the country's aviation sector. Meanwhile, a spokesman for Sudan's main opposition coalition has criticized the US's decision to withhold $700 million in aid to the country, saying Sudan should not have to be punished for what occurred in the previous regime. During a press brief, the United States condemned the actions taken by Sudanese military forces that led to the arrest of Sudanese civilian government officials and other political leaders. The FFC spokesman Mubarak Ardol demanded at a press briefing that the country's military forces step down and return power to the civilian transitional government, and also hit back at the US's decision to freeze aid to Sudan. Finally, Nigerian startups are digitizing the country's local supply chain, helping farmers sell their produce and merchants navigate high food costs. Startups in the country have created digital marketplaces, allowing wholesalers, shopkeepers, restaurateurs, and hotels to buy directly from farms and manufacturers. Inflation has been in double digits in Nigeria since 2016, although it has eased over the past 6 months. The startups work with producers by offering credit to farms to help them grow, signing supply deals, collecting produce, and selling it at a specific rate to the buyers, making money on the interest and through the commission of around 1% to 5%. Vandy's, one such firm, has helped more than 100 hotels and restaurants save $480,000 in food procurement costs in the last 9 months. Reporting for Lunchtime News, my name is Hibak Saeed.
Further afield, Volkswagen Premier car maker Audi expects chip supplies to remain tight until summer of 2022. It hopes to reach stabilization with regard to production and chip deliveries at the end of the first half of 2022. Here are the details of this and others from across the globe.
Volkswagen cut its outlook for deliveries, toned down sales expectations, and warned of job cuts as shortage of computer chips caused Europe's largest car maker to report lower than expected operating profit for the third quarter. Audi had to troubleshoot on a day-to-day basis to tackle the ongoing shortage of auto chips, calling the situation a perfect storm. The earnings showed the pressure that Volkswagen is facing as it tries to switch more of its production to electric vehicles. As a result of the shortage, Volkswagen, which has outlined an ambitious plan to become the world leader in electric vehicle sales, expect deliveries in 2021 to be only in line with the previous year, having previously forecast a rise. Meanwhile, Apple Incorporated has cut back production of iPad tablets to allocate more components to the iPhone 13. A sign the global chip supply crunch is hitting Apple harder than previously indicated. Production of the iPad was down half from Apple's original plans for the past 2 months, adding that the parts intended for older iPhones were also being switched to the iPhone 13. Even though iPhone 13 production hit a snag due to factory closure in Asia and high demand in the second half of the year. Finally, Ryanair is expecting to cut fares this winter to help boost passenger demand. While the airline has seen business picking up recently, it warned it was still recovering from COVID-related collapse in air travel. Ryanair reported a narrowing of half-year losses but warned its annual deficit could hit 170 million euros. Chief Executive Michael O'Leary said the industry was seeing a strong recovery across Europe. However, heavy price discounting will be needed to fill aircraft this winter. Keeping prices low and passengers' numbers high will set up for a very strong recovery. The number of empty seats per plane will shrink from around 20% to under 10% by next summer. The airline expects to return to profitability in the year ending March 2023.
In sports, Simba FC were crowned champions of the 2021 Ongata Football Super Cup after claiming a 5-4 win on post-match penalties against Kitengela FC. Meanwhile, Ongata Academy showed an impressive performance and beat Simba 3-0 in the under-9 category. The tournament was organized by former Harambee Stars and Nons striker Dennis Oliach.
Wanazidi kuonesha kucha hapa kidogo, naona ni under 2.5. Ni under 2.5. Unaekelea pesa ngapi hapo ndugu yangu? Mimi kama mwekezaji naweza bashini GG. Kwani unaekelea 1000 ama milioni? Hapa kidogo. Sasa mimi ndakuwa naweka
And still on local football, the third edition of Amateur Football Premier League, dubbed Wadau Premier League, which will be held on 13th of this month at the Strathmore Sports Complex, has been launched. The league, which is the only amateur football top competition in the country, will bring together a total of 8 teams of 7 a side with the aim of an interaction platform as well as keeping. The one-day tournament, which was launched last August, was held for the second time in March of this year and will be held thrice a year during school holidays and will see winners walk away with cash prizes as well as trophies.
We are excited to partner with BetLion. Our vision to bring football stakeholders, specifically fans, together align, and we are hoping this is the beginning of a long-term partnership. Our vision is to expand and take the product to other parts of the country
Our aim has always been to support community sports initiatives, and we normally do that through our Betlown Streets outreach program. And the Wadau Premier League has given us another opportunity to further advance our agenda in that regard.
In England, Wolves claimed a 2-1 victory over Everton last night at the Molinex Stadium in the English Premier League to pile more misery on Rafael Benitez.